Hey there, Aries. Let's talk about what 2025 has in store for you. And 2025 is really set to be a life-changing year for you because of all of these rare cycles that are lighting up some really important areas of your chart. Now, we're going to get right to that. Okay, we have Neptune and Saturn, two slow moving planets that are going to be moving into your sign and at the same time, which is kind of interesting. It's been a long, long time since that's happened. And with that comes really massive insights and change and transformation in lots of different ways. But these slower moving planets that are out there in the solar system, like Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, they take a long time to go around the sun, right? And Saturn's in there too. Whatever that one is, I was just saying Neptune. Neptune takes 220 years to go around the sun, where we take 365 days, right? So 220 of Neptune years is 1 year for us. So it's pretty dramatic when Neptune transits into a new sign or when it moves into a new house in your own personal chart. But Neptune moving into Aries, this is a big deal. This is a huge deal. It's been in Pisces since 2011. And now, as it moves into your sign, the next 14 years is really about reinvention of who you are, dreaming your new self into being, because that's what Neptune handles for us. It helps us to dream into reality what it is that we want, letting go of past parts of ourselves that don't necessarily work anymore, surrendering parts of ourselves that we don't really deem as necessary anymore, parts of ourselves that we'd rather not have. That's where we let that go and we start to really lean into our spirituality and what our intuitive self and our higher self is telling us instead of external sources. We really go within. Now, Neptune moving in and Saturn moving in, which we're going to get to in a second, they give us a preview of what this is going to be looking like moving forward when they finally land there and stay there in 2026. But this is a year of preview. So nothing has to happen necessarily this year. It's about the actualization, realization, and awareness of it. So you may be finding that as Neptune comes in, Neptune kind of brings fog with it. It brings confusion. It brings a little bit um of I can't think of the word. Confusion is what we're just going to keep going with, and I'll remember it in a second. So with that, may bring a little bit of confusion about which direction you want to go and where you want to be going. Because remember, this is coming over the top of your chart. That first house that Aries represents in astrology, that's your personality, that's how the world sees you, that's who you are to the world. So this is going through a bit of a recalculation process with Neptune going through it. It's dreaming you into being of what you want to be. Now, right behind it is kind of its, I don't want to say it's a nemesis, but Saturn is a little bit different. Okay. Saturn likes to build barriers and boundaries, and Neptune likes to dissolve them away. But Saturn moving into your sign is a 30-year cycle. Hasn't been there for 30 years. It's moving in. And with that, it's growing and maturing you in a lot of ways. So you may be finding that this is definitely a year where you are beginning to slow down a little bit. You are maturing a little bit. You may even find, especially with your retrograde planet Mars at the end of 2024, moving into the first couple of months of 2025, your ruling planet is retrograde. And when that happens, when it starts out the year, your energy levels are kind of muted. They're kind of down here. And you don't have the gusto to get out there and do things. You want to slow down. And you may carry that theme through the remainder of this year as you're kind of fleshing out what these major planetary transits, that's a word I totally just made up, planetary. These planetary transits, what they're trying to show you is what you're going to do. Take a little bit of slowing down time, really just so that way you know you're making those wise choices because that's what Saturn likes us to do. It likes us to slow down and it likes us to make calculated, thoughtful choices. It's forward thinking, it's the long term planner. So, as it comes into your sign, It is the arch nemesis of your Mars. Mars likes to act, it has the courage to jump when it needs to. It sees the call for action and it's like, I am here. Bring it, But Saturn is like, think of it like this. Mars is 1 foot on the gas, Saturn is 1 foot on the brake. Saturn likes rules, it likes order, it likes structure, it likes a plan. It doesn't want to jump. It wants to sit and it wants to wait and it wants to think because in that way it's making very calculated choices. And as it moves into your sign, you may find that you're embodying a little bit more of that energy than just acting on those impulses that usually kind of come through. So planning and staying focused, you will get a forerunner of that this year as well. Those are two of the major things that are happening. Now, let's we'll probably bring it up again here in a minute, but we're going to move into this next area. Let's talk about your house of money, finances. What be happening in there for you right now, right? So, 2018, Uranus out there in the sky, which takes 80 years to go around the wheel. When I say the wheel, I mean the sun. It takes 80 years. So when it does this, it makes a gigantic impact, right? And the last time it had been in Taurus, where it was at, was during the Great Depression. Taurus deals with the finance sector, it deals with healthcare, it deals with um, our money, the economy, and the weather, right? So look at how this planet of unexpected things that flips everything upside down so that way the new can come in, the new innovative energy can come in. Look at what it's done during the Great Depression, and then again as it went in from 2018 until just now when it's moving out and it's moving into Gemini. Now, where that has been impacting your chart is the second house of money, finances, and self worth and possessions, everything you have of value. So, since 2018, you've been going through a little bit of instability in that house of finances. Things have been up and down. They can be really good, they can be really bad. Things can come out of nowhere. Uranus has a way of doing that to us, right? But as it's been going through, it's been having you reassess what you truly value, how much you find the value in yourself, and how authentic you're being to yourself for those things. So, definitely some unpredictability in terms of that. But you know what's awesome? That puppy's leaving. That guy's getting out of here. And as it does, as it's been transiting through there for the past 7 years, 8 years, what it's really trying to do is bring you a sense of financial freedom, because that's what Uranus likes, is freedom. And so you are going to be finding avenues and windows of opportunity for that to happen this year, to move forward into 2026 to actually make that a tangible reality. So, setting you up for financial freedom, do what's authentic to you. Do what feels right to you. Maybe this comes from you recognizing and realizing that you've put too much energy in at the place that you work now and you need to demand more money. Or if they don't want to do it, maybe it's time to change those jobs. Whatever it is, Uranus going out can bring that opportunity in super fast, right? You just have to make that decision and that choice that you deserve better. Because remember, that second house is about our self worth and how worthy we feel that we are of receiving good things, right? And bringing that abundance in. So if there's blocks to that, this is a year where we're really, really able to let those things go. This is that year where those subconscious blocks that we have, your 12th house is subconscious, is ruled by Pisces. That is where Saturn is leaving. That is where Neptune is leaving, right? So this is where it's been doing all of this work since 2011, and in the past couple of years, to really help you to look at your belief systems around yourself, around your relationships, around money, around everything, and to see what works, what doesn't, and to release the things that don't, right? Absolutely. So, speaking of relationships, let's go there. So, what's interesting is that we are wrapping up this series of Aries and Libra eclipses. Now, our eclipses in astrology are huge, right? Because they show us where some things are old and outdated and where the new is just beating down the door to come in. And so for you, these happen, well, for all of us, they happen in these 10-year intervals. So They happened in your sign starting last year. Well, no, technically starting at the end of 2023, happened all of last year, and we have the last one happening this year, March 27th. So that one is going to be the Aries. What do we call that one? Is that the lunar eclipse? Hold on a moment, please. Yes, is no solar eclipse, new moon solar eclipse. I should have known that, but here we are. Anyway, you'll forgive me. As we go through that time frame, we're wrapping up these cycles of where the universe was kind of showing you like billboards, the areas in your life that are impeding you from being the true, authentic version of yourself. And it was also looking at that dynamic of you and the needs that you have and your relationship and how the relationship is meeting those needs, right? So they go hand in hand, they go together. And now we're going through this phase where you're able to wrap up any cycles. If the universe has showed you where you have to let go of certain beliefs, if you have to let go of certain things, if you have to vocalize what it is you want, maybe it's the other way around. Your partner's been vocalizing to you and you haven't been hearing. Then it comes around in this cycle, and in March, you're really going to have this opportunity to make massive shifts and changes in the landscape of that seventh house, which is partnerships, marriage, relationships, friendships also as well. So finding balance in them and getting your needs met. Yeah. Now let's move on to home and family. Let's do that. Let's move on to home and family. So, you know what? Side note, I'm just going to think about this one real quick. Um, so the eclipses, let's think about that. We talked a little bit about where everything's leaving Pisces, right? And that house of the subconscious and reforming your beliefs. Now, at the same time, those eclipses that were happening to mix you up or not mix you up, but get you to, see things in relationship, where the eclipses are happening this year for you are in the sixth house and the 12th house. So, how you make your money in your daily life, in your physical health, and then that 12th house of the subconscious mind. So we've kind of got conscious and subconscious. And when we look at the dynamic between the two of them, it's how our thoughts create our reality. Now, where the eclipses are, the nodes follow. And the nodes represent kind of where our soul's direction is going right now and where our soul's been and where we don't want to go back to. And so, as we look at where these nodes are at, it's having us to release any old karmic baggage, any old baggage that we might have in those belief systems that are preventing us from manifesting our reality. I just wanted to throw that one in here before we got to home and family. Home and family, Jupiter is moving into your fourth house. And I tell you what, Jupiter is that planet of luck, opportunity, expansion. It takes 12 years to go around the sun. And so it hasn't been here for a minute. And as it's going through there, I always say the history doesn't repeat, it rhymes. So it's not going to be the same thing that happened 12 years ago, but you're going to be finding that there's a lot of similar themes that are reemerging in terms of your immediate home environment, the actual house that you live in, your family environment, your living situation, um, issues that may have surfaced with parents at that time, or I'm sorry, excuse me, I've had such a bad cough. Oh, or issues that have surfaced around childhood events, because that's also what the fourth house represents is our childhood and our upbringing. Maybe there's some events that have come up from that, our systems growing up that have surfaced that you're recognizing now that it's like, hmm, these are things where I'm ready to move past it. Jupiter has an ability to heal these things, especially generational trauma, generational wounds, and generational belief systems that are put into us that aren't ours. They're just like family mottos, like nobody's ever been a millionaire in this family. You're never going to be a millionaire, or like money don't grow on trees. Like we adapt these beliefs because of what we absorb as children, right? And maybe those things are surfacing for you now where you're like, that don't work. I don't believe that anyway. Jupiter has the ability to heal that and remove that backwards and forwards in time and help you to move forward. But as it moves through that actual fourth house of yours too, Jupiter grows and expands us. So you may be finding that this is a year where you're adding on to your family. Maybe you're thinking of having more children. Maybe your grown children are moving out, moving on. Maybe you're thinking about increasing your house size, decreasing your house size to fit your needs, selling a house, buying a lake house, whatever it might be. It has to do with that immediate property. And Jupiter gives us these lucky breaks where it's like, I don't even know how the heck that happened, but I got this smoking deal. And it's because of this. That's the power of Jupiter working in your favor. And that's definitely something that's great. Now, another thing too is um emotions. Sorry about the delay there. I was thinking about how to word this here. So the fourth house also deals with our emotional self and finding the value in what our emotions are telling us. And as Jupiter goes through, you may find that your emotions are surfacing more, but you're able to put a name to what it is you're feeling, and being able to communicate that outward is really important. So there's a big focus on emotional health for you as well this year. I'm not saying there's a depression. That's not what I'm saying is happening to you. I'm just saying that those things are coming to the surface and you're more aware of what they're telling you that need to be met, especially in relationships, right? Because we know there's a lot of shift happening there. So we are going to talk about the moon now. So how about this? So the moon is an amazing thing, right? We can work in tandem with the moon and the moon cycles in order to manifest things we want, release things that we don't. Full moons are notoriously a time for surrendering and releasing. And we know this is going to be a big year for you with Neptune moving into your sign, the planet that wants us to surrender, things that don't work anymore. Full moons are going to be extra important for you, but especially your full moon. Full moons are when things are just crazy. Things reach ahead, and you got to admit that, right? Especially a lot of Aries folks, right? You're going to be the firefighters and, the first responders of the zodiac, right? So you get it. Hospitals are full at the time of the full moon. Jail cells full at the time of the full moon. Mental hospitals full at the time of the full moon because things reach a breaking point. Things, right? They build up, they build up, they build up, just like the moon fills with the light of the sun. And then it finally gets to a point where it has to break and it has to release. And so, with that, that's the best time for us to release anything that we have. Your Aries full moon for releasing is October 6th. October 6th. So that's not to say that you can't any other time, but it's just extra potent then. But then when we want to manifest, when we want to put out there what it is we do want, we do that at the new moon. Your Aries new moon, that solar eclipse that we were talking about. So that's on steroids because it's in your sign and it's an eclipse. So you've not only got the power of manifestation of a new moon, you got the solar eclipse on top of that, which brings new beginnings. And it's in your sign. So it's like, yeehaw. Best time you can release in that one too. Manifesting and dreaming into being what it is you do want. Yeah, super great, super great. Did I tell you the date? I didn't. March 29th. Happening then. Now, we are going to talk about birthdays. These are birthdays that are happening astrologically, how these things are certainly happening for certain dates. If your birthday's not in here, it doesn't mean that these things can't happen for you. You might find that even if it is your birthday, these things don't apply to you. Whatever resonates, you take it or you don't. I'm just looking at how the planets are impacting these certain birthdays. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. That's what I always say, right? In the world of spirituality, that's what we do. So, uh, um, but this is in general for Aries. This whole thing that I've done today is just the general Aries horoscope for the year. But if you want to know how these planets are impacting your specific chart, there's a link below where you can get a reading with me. We can go over that by Zoom and look at all the aspects, see where Jupiter's growing you, where the opportunities are coming in, where the eclipses are bringing new beginnings, all the things, right? We can look at that. Link below. Birthdays, March 20th to April 14th. Jupiter out there in the sky is going to be squaring your sun. And Jupiter is a beneficial planet. So even when it makes a tough aspect like a square or an opposition, it's still going to be beneficial for us. So the fact that it's even touching your sun is an amazing thing. This is stretching yourself, growing yourself, trying new things, and it's leveling you up. Now, this is also a point where you are integrating the wisdom that Jupiter has and the faith in yourself that you can get through anything and you have the ability to manifest whatever it is that you want. When you put the faith in yourself and the faith in the universe together, that's going to equal the success for you for this coming year, especially in 2026. March 20th to March 23rd, Neptune is conjuncting your sun. Now, excuse me. Neptune, that planet of fog that rolls in, you may be finding like this is a year where you are treading water. You're a little bit in that fog, you're in that confusion where you think sometimes you may oscillate between knowing what you want and having that energy and that drive to all of a sudden being in total confusion and having no energy and complete fatigue. It could go up and down at times like that for you, but there's a reason, right? Neptune really wants you to go within. Focus on what your internal self is telling you, kind of get yourself away from the energy of other people and really start trusting in what your soul is communicating to you, right? Um, Definitely a time to, when those times come when it's hard to be like, why is this happening? I don't know how to get my energy back, all that. Really lean into your spiritual side. That means going into meditation. Maybe that means listening to music. Maybe that helps you get into that energy of meditation. Whatever it is that helps you, creativity, making something, creating something, that also helps as well too. So this is definitely a year where you just need to trust yourself and get in tune with what your higher self is telling you. All right, March 20th to March 24th. Pluto is making a really great connection to your sun. Now, Pluto is that planet of transformation. I don't think we really even talked about it. Pluto is the planet that is going to radically transform who you are and how the world sees you. And what this year is going to be about is about purging and cleansing away what no longer works, what parts of you no longer identify with, in order to find who you are, because the new you is emerging. You are the proverbial caterpillar to the butterfly right now. And there's a lot of insights that are coming through in this year of things that need to be let go of in order for that new you to be coming through. So, no matter what, Aries, right? These major planetary shifts are once in a lifetime. They're happening now. They're moving into 2026. You're getting a preview. This could be a time for confusion, right? We've talked about that. You may feel overwhelmed. You may feel super busy. You may have increased demands put on you with Saturn moving into your sign for the next 2.5 years. It has a way of doing that. Increased responsibilities means to increase boundaries and limits, both with yourself and with others. So just know that increased alone time may very well be a necessity and needed for you this year in order to recalibrate and recoup through all of this, especially in the last quarter of the year. But beyond that, everybody, that's everything we have in store. Good things are coming, and you're going to get a great preview of it this year. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.